Hey everybody, hope all is well. I wanted to give a Devar Torah, speak some words of Torah on the weekly Torah portion on Parsha, on the Torah portion of Bereshit, the first Parsha. We're starting a whole new, cycle of the Torah. So I want to give a quick Devar Torah, something that I've been reading these parsha for many years, a few years now, and going through the whole cycle, and always the story of the beginning of creation of the world, the story of Adam and Eve. It was always such a cryptic story for me, and a lot of aspects of the story I never really understood. So I was going through a book by amazing rabbi. His name is Rav Noach Weinberg. It's called Wisdom for Living, Torah Chaim, as written by his students, and he gave a beautiful explanation on the whole story of the tree of knowledge, and Adam eating from the tree, and Adam and Chava eating from the tree. And it's a beautiful Devar Torah, and I want to share it with you guys. So let's start with this. So we know the story that so let's start with background information. So the story is as follows. God created the whole world, whatever. He's at creating man. He's been creating mankind. Created Adam, Eve. He put them in a garden. So we know the whole world. One of the ideas is that the world's a test. God put us here. The ultimate goal is to get close to God. And God put us in this world, giving us things to do, things to not to do, right? Positive commandments, negative commandments, right? We call them mitzvot. And he commands us to do things. And based off, those mitzvot, there are some, in all aspects of our lives, these mitzvahs apply. Based off how hard we work to do these mitzvahs, to do the good and avoid the bad, determines how close to God we're going to be. So God created Adam. This was the first test in creation. God put Adam in the Garden of Eden. He made every type of fruit tree you could think of. Apples, oranges, whatever was there at the time. All types of vegetation, fruits, and there's two trees that he put in the middle of the garden, at the center of the garden. One of them is called the tree of life, okay, whatever that means. He created the tree of life. And another tree there is called the tree of knowledge of good and bad. We call it in Hebrew the Etz Hadat. Etz, the tree, Hadat, of knowledge. So the tree of knowledge, okay? God said to Adam, Adam, you could eat from any tree you want but the tree of knowledge. Even the tree of life, you could eat from it, just not from the tree of knowledge, the Etz Hadat. And we know the story. What happens that, and God told Adam, if you eat from that tree, you will die. Don't eat from the tree of knowledge of good and bad. If you eat from it, you will die. You're not gonna, meaning it seems from the verse that he would have lived forever. Okay, whatever that means, very cryptic, but fine. Okay, now with that being said, what happens? Eve, Chava, Eve, Adam and Eve, right? Eve is in Hebrew is Chava. Okay, Chava ends up, the whole situation with the snake, and again, according to different commentaries, like Rabbeinu Bechaye, he holds it was like, in her head. The snake represents, the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. Some people hold it was an actual snake. Doesn't matter, whatever. But the idea is, what's the idea of the story? The idea of the story is that, it came to Chava and was convinced to eat from the tree. It said, don't worry, eat from the tree. Long story short, she eats from the tree. She feeds some to her husband. He also eats from the tree knowingly. He knew that he was eating from the tree. Okay, and what happened? After that moment, they realized, they were naked. They put clothing. The tree of knowledge of good and bad gave them that knowledge, whatever, that they were naked. Fine. God said to Adam and Eve, what did you do? Why'd you eat from the tree? You gotta, in a sense, upset at them and told them, okay, now that you did this bad thing, you didn't listen to me. I give you a commandment. You failed. Now there's curses. Adam got cursed, the snake got cursed, and Chava got cursed. Fine. That was the story. Now, there's a few questions on this story. Question number one: what is the tree of life? What is that? The tree of life. Great. Like, what does that mean? Is it an apple tree, an orange tree, a banana tree? Great. What is it? Tree of knowledge of good and bad. What is that tree? What is that? What is that tree? Is that an actual tree? Is it represent something, right? And another thing that you could kind of derive from the verse is that if Adam ate from the tree of life, he would have had permission to eat from the tree of knowledge. I think that's derived from a verse, or I don't know where I saw that, or I saw it maybe as a commentary that said that. I saw in Rav Noach's book that he wrote that, but I didn't know the source. But the idea is that if he ate from the tree of life, he could have ate from the tree of knowledge. Now, those are the three questions. What's going on? What is this whole story? Again, the Torah is not a storybook. It's not a history book. It's not a science book. The Torah is here to teach you life lessons. It's an instruct. What does the word Torah mean? Instructions for instructions, right? Torah Chaim, instructions for life, instruction manual to live this thing called life. And the idea is that it's trying to teach us a lesson. Okay, it's trying to teach us something. It's not just trying to tell us cryptic statements for no reason. There's hidden lessons in every verse and every single letter. Okay, and the Torah and so let's analyze the story. What is the tree of life? Okay, what's Etz Chaim, right? The tree of life. Etz Chaim, the tree of life. We know that this is, so I'm going to the answer. So we said the question, what are the answers? The tree of life represents the Torah, right? Because we say, what? The Torah, Etz Chaim hi. The Torah is the tree of life. So what is Torah? Again, if we could put it into, some words, Torah is basically an instruction manual, like I said before. So let's put it like a textbook for living. That's the Torah, a textbook for life. Okay, it teaches you exactly how to master this thing called life. And what is the tree of knowledge of good and bad? That represents wisdom. So there's two types of wisdom: textbook wisdom, and what's the tree of knowledge of good and bad? It represents wisdom that is only acquired through trial and error. So there's two ways of acquiring wisdom. So let's say, for example, in a marriage, you want to be a good husband. Okay, how do you learn how to be a good husband? There's two ways. Way number one is you could take something called chatan classes, marriage classes. You learn the psychology of a woman, the purpose of a marriage, how to work on your bad character traits, different aspects of a marriage, how to treat a girl, how to treat your wife, right? Fine. You could learn. You could get the textbook wisdom. And then when you get married, you apply that wisdom to your life, okay? Because, it's like, anything else you do in life. Before you become a doctor or lawyer, you go to school for many years, you get educated, okay, on how to be a doctor and how to be a lawyer, whatever. And then you go out into the field. Then you practice, what you learn, okay? So that's that's what the Torah is, right? And now that's one type of wisdom, textbook wisdom. Now what's the other type of wisdom? It's called wisdom through trial and error, meaning you only learn something from going from making like attempts and failing and succeeding, failing and succeeding, right? Trial and error. So the idea is what? So the tree of life represents wisdom through textbook wisdom, Torah basically, right? The instruction manual for life. Wisdom that, you don't have to, you got the answers, the cheat code in a sense, yeah? And the tree of knowledge of good and bad represents wisdom that is acquired through, trial and error. And what's the idea? God was telling Adam, there's two ways if you could go through life, okay? You could go through life through trial and error, or you could go through life studying the instruction manual to life. And either way, though, the route to trial and error, you might get to the destination, but it's going to be hard. You're going to waste time, right? You're going to go through so many errors until you get to your destination. But if you just look at the cheat code, the instruction manual, look at the textbook, you'll save yourself a lot of time, a lot of aggravation, right? Like, I'll give you a perfect example. When it comes to marriage, there's so many non-Jewish authors who wrote books on marriage, on how to be a good husband. And the guy writes, in his introduction to his book, after going through 5 divorces, okay, he writes, I finally learned what it means to be a good husband and how to treat your wife. Chazak Baruch. You mean, nice job. You went through 5 divorces, you went through trial and error, now you know what it means to be a good husband. Great. Or there's one option you could do through trial and error. You could learn how to raise kids. And instead of, again, so marriage, you could do it like that. You could go through trial and error. Raising kids, you could also do it through trial and error. I messed up on 5 kids. Now I'm going to train my kids. Now I know what to do on the 6th kid, right? You could do that. You could do it. You could do it with anything in life. But the idea is, God's telling the Jewish people, I give you the Torah, the instruction into life, right? God's telling Adam is, and God's saying, Adam, I don't want you. Why go through life through trial and error? I'll give you the cheat code, the instruction manual to life. And instead of, going through all this, hassle and trying to reach your destination, I'll give it to you right away. Again, like the example I gave. Instead of going through marriage and going through trial and error, and figuring out how to be a good husband and learning from 5 divorces, you know what? Read the marriage book. Read, the Torah. Like, for example, let's say you study the Torah, you study the Chatan classes on how to be married. So then you don't have to go through 5 divorces. You'll get it on the first try, right? You'll do it good. You'll do it good the first time. You don't have to learn through trial and error. So there's 2 ways of going through life. So again, like I said, with raising kids, with getting married, with dating. You could be dating and you don't know how to date. You never studied. First, get the education on what to dating, what to look for in a girl. All the stuff the Torah talks about. The Torah has so many insights on dating that God told the Jews of how to find the right girl, a growing person, an easygoing person. There's so much wisdom on that. Or happiness, or any other field, whether happiness, marriage, raising your community, finding your purpose in life, whatever it is. God is just telling the Jews, God is trying to teach us the lesson from the Torah, from this whole story. And again, especially telling to Adam, first first get the textbook wisdom, then go through trial and error. That's what answers the question. God basically was telling Adam, you could eat from the tree of knowledge of good and bad. But I first want you to eat from the tree of life. I first want you to study the Torah, the textbook wisdom. Once you know the textbook wisdom, then you could go out in the field. Once you go to med school for 4 years, once you go to law school, whatever it is, and you get the textbook wisdom, now you could go out in the field and be successful. And that's the idea. That's the lesson the Torah is trying to teach us. The Torah is trying to tell us, don't go through life through trial and error. There's a guy. He's in a maze, okay? A labyrinth. And he's trying to get to the middle. Now, there's two ways of going through the maze. You could go through the maze, like through trial and error, okay? So you get stuck in a dead end, waste time, get frustrated, go here, go left, right, get another dead end, frustrated, waste time, and eventually after, a long time and a lot of frustration, you finally make it to the middle. Or there's another way of going through the labyrinth. You have a guy who's standing from a bird's eye view on top of the maze, and he sees everything. He sees the pathway, he sees how to get to the middle, and the guy, this example is brought from the Mesilat Yesharim. And the guy who's standing on the top, you're standing in the maze, you don't know what to do, but the guy on top is telling you, hey, go right. He's GPS, he's Waze, go right. Okay, go left. Okay, there's a dead end here. Don't go that way. Go this way. Go that way. All the way till you get to the middle. Not only did you get to the middle to your destination in less time, but you experience much, much less frustration. And that's what God is telling to us. That's what God is trying to teach the Jewish people. There's two ways of acquiring wisdom. There's two ways of becoming successful in life. You could go through trial and error and do it like people who don't have Torah. 99% of the world doesn't have Torah. So how are they learning? How are the non-Jews learning how to have good marriages? They're going through mistakes and they're teaching it in their books. After the mistakes, they're making their own textbooks on it. But we have the greatest textbook in the world. The creator of the universe gave us the Torah. Who knows better of how to raise kids and how to have an amazing marriage and how to be happy and how to be successful than the creator of the world? He wrote us and he gave us the instruction manual. He told us in this instruction manual, I'm giving you the key. I'm giving you the cheat code to life. And that's why Adam, that was Adam's mistake. Adam was telling God, if you look at the oral Torah and what really went down, Adam, it wasn't a mistake. He purposely chose to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and life, of good and bad. Why? Because he said, God, I know the purpose of life is to get close to you. Now, there's two ways to get close to you. I could just listen to you and fulfill the commandment and not eat from the tree, and I would have been successful and I would have got everything I needed. Or I'm going to purposely eat from the tree of knowledge, make a sin, and now because I sinned, I distance myself from you. So instead of being here, I'm now farther. And now when I want to come back, it's going to be a much greater relationship. Because instead of, starting from here and getting close to you, I was from here and I got close to you. It's much more of a distance, right? So I traveled more and then the relationship is going to be better. And that's what God was telling Adam in a sense. God was telling Adam, I'd rather do plan B. I don't want to do plan A. Plan B is smarter. I know what the right way, and that was his mistake. His mistake was, let me do it through trial and error. God, let me figure out life by myself. I don't need the instruction manual. I will make the mistakes and then get close to you through the mistakes. And God's telling Adam, no, Adam, trust me. I'm God. I created the world. Just listen to me. Study my Torah. Once you study my Torah, once you eat from the tree of life, then you could eat from the tree of knowledge of good and bad. Then you could go through trial and error. But if you do that, again, it's no different than a pilot, flying a plane without, getting educated on what a plane is and studying it. It's not, he's going to crash the plane. It's like a doctor going out in the field and not, he never got educated in med school and he's out in the field. It's not going to work. It's not going to be practical. So what's the takeaway? The takeaway is for every single one of us, to, no matter who you are, Jew, non-Jew, but to study the Torah. Again, there's Torah topics for non-Jews to study. That's a different topic for a different time. But especially for the Jews, there's so much wisdom, so much Torah to study. So make it a goal for yourself. The takeaway is study the instruction manual. Make a set time per week. Learn Torah. Whatever it is, find a book that you like. Read a day. You know what? You don't want to study Gemara or Mishnah? Okay, that's Gemara and Mishnah is like the source of everything. But if that's too hard for you, study. There's books on marriage, like 10 really dumb mistakes. 10 really dumb mistakes every smart couples make. There's books on marriage. There's books on dating. There's books on raising kids. There's so many books out there on wisdom that all stems from the creator of the universe on how to be successful. So the idea is choose what you want. You want to take the cheat code and be successful and with less time, wasting less time and going through less frustration, or you want to do basically the easy way or the hard way. That's the idea. So thank you so much for listening. Bezrat Hashem, and see you next time.